Hi, welcome to the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and comment your thoughts and opinions on the stories. Let's get started. Am I the antagonist for refusing to share my sandwich with my husband? Context: me, F26, and my husband, M33, have been married for 6 months. He works from home, while I'm currently staying at home for health issues. Every day I make myself and sandwich between meals. I ask my husband if he'd like to have a sandwich too, but he'd no, and that he wasn't hungry. However, once I sit down to eat, he'd sit next to me and watch me, then ask me to split my sandwich with him. I refuse initially, but then he would look at me with his puppy eyes and I almost instantly give in and share my sandwich with him. Thing is, I'm diabetic and have my own sandwich snacks to eat, and also because of sharing with him, I now deal with more low blood sugar moments. I still made sure to ask him over and over if he wanted a sandwich, and he'd still say no. Yesterday he did it again. Saw me sitting eating, and approached me, then sat next to me and asked me to share. I declined and told him I already asked if he wanted a sandwich, and he said no. He complained about how he wasn't hungry then, and admitted that seeing me eat kind of brought him his appetite back. He kept asking me to share, but I pointed out how I need those sandwiches to balance my diet. He said a small piece won't hurt, but I still refused. He snapped and said that he works a lot while I do nothing, even though he knows I'm in recovery. I refused and he yelled at me about being selfish and petty over a sandwich. I told him to go make his own, which pissed him off a great deal. He went out and avoided me for the rest of the day and ate dinner out. Am I the antagonist? I mean, I cold just shared with him. Now for the top comments. NTA. He has time to watch you eat, but not get his own snack? Why wouldn't he prepare a sandwich for lunch before he starts work? That would require effort and it's just not the same unless Op is eating it. Absolutely not the a-hole. He is 100% capable of making himself a sandwich. You were generous to ask him a few times if he would like one. He said no. His loss. NTA. Not only is this a huge pet peeve, but it's actually medically dangerous. He's being completely unreasonable. He can make his own effing sandwiches. Am I the antagonist for embarrassing my sister in front of her friends? I moved into my dad's house a year ago because my mom has passed away due to drug use. My sister, who is only 4 months older than me, hates me because I'm a affair baby. My dad's wife only found out about me 3 years ago, which according to my sister their marriage never been the same since her mom finding out about my existence. Every day she will do things to make me feel like an alien at my own home. She ripped a photo I had of my mom and I and stolen a necklace my mother gave me. She also will bump into on purpose when I'm walking around the house. My dad is packed with so much guilt that he doesn't really do anything. My sister's mom puts more effort into stopping her daughter than my dad. My sister invited her friend group over, which consists of 4 girls, and she's starting making fun of my dead mom and me, saying stuff like I wouldn't talk to her, she's only gonna end up like her mom in a few years, or the reason why she looks like that is because her mom used while she was pregnant. She also said drug is like her mom, don't deserve a life anyway. Everyone was laughing at me and I felt away, so I told my sister about herself, saying, what kind of evil soul makes jokes about someone's dead mom? Not just anyone but their own sister. I have not done one thing to you, but you done nothing but make my life miserable. I'm sorry that your dad cheated on your mom, and I'm sorry that caused my existence, but I'm here now, so deal with it, or at least leave me alone. My sister starting crying, saying that I ruined her life and that she wished I didn't exist, and ran to her bedroom. My sister's friends didn't know that I was her sister and thought I was a foster child or something, so all of her friends are asking about bunch of questions about me and are upset at her for lying. She refuses to show her face at school now. My dad is upset at me because he thinks I should have taken her aside instead of embarrassing and outing her in front of her friends. I didn't know she was lying to get friends, but my sister's mom thinks I did nothing wrong and that it's her daughter's fault for lying and bullying me in front of her friends, and she says it's a natural consequence. This is just a summarized version of everything it would take a lot of writing to put everything in. I'm sorry if I left any important details out. AITA for embarrassing my sister in front of her friends. Now for the top comments. Absolutely not the a-hole. I think you were actually quite restrained in what you said. I'm also glad that her mother is seeing what is happening rather than just siding with your sister. Both of you and your stepmother are the victims here. I hope you can work things out. I want to give stepmom a great big hug and a thank you. Too many women in this situation would be siding with their daughter and taking their anger out on Opus. Rather, it appears that she is showing a level of grace and decency we don't see in this forum much. First and foremost, you are not to blame for your parents' affair. I understand why your sister is angry, but she needs to be angry at your father, not you. NTA. I think that's the worst part about it for me. Not only is Op's sister's anger misplaced, Dad continues to get off scot-free by not being involved in any other way than to scold Op for not fitting into the box sister built for them. Horrible situation all around. Am I the antagonist for taking my boyfriend's daughter to get a pedicure? I have been dating my boyfriend for 3 months now. We have been good friends for over a year at this point. I have known his kids the entire time, and we have become closer now that we are dating. He has a 7-year-old girl and a 4-year-old boy. The girl warmed up to me quickly. We watch movies together. She draws pictures with me, and we really just enjoy each other's company. She is very sweet. For some context, my boyfriend's ex, the children's mother, is no exactly a great co-parent. She is always hitting up my boyfriend for gas money, has constant emotional explosions without provocation, always wants us to take the kids so she can go out, which we never have a problem with because we love the kids. We actually have them on most days. Tells them their dad doesn't want to spend time with them on the off chance we actually do have plans, and can't seem to get her children to school on time, if at all. One Saturday I was going to get a pedicure, which I don't do very often, but I was going to treat myself. I had seen other little girls at the salon before, and I thought it might be something that my boyfriend's daughter might like. I asked my boyfriend, and he thought it was a great idea. We got the pedicures. At the salon she had a great time. She got these cute little flower designs on her nails and the worker even gave her a soda as a treat. We took the kids back to their mother and this is when things turned. Within 2 minutes of dropping them off, my boyfriend got a flurry of text messages from his ex. The first one said you two can go F yourselves, and continued to accuse me of stealing a major milestone from her in her daughter's life. Apparently, she had been planning on taking her to her first pedicure and now I had ruined her plan. When I was growing up, my mom never got pedicures, and it was not considered a milestone or a big deal. Clearly her response was disproportionate, but I do kind of wonder, am I the antagonist for not asking the ex beforehand? Now for the top comments. NTA. I'm so sorry. Your BS daughter is so lucky to have you. I've never heard of this being a milestone. I don't think it is, honestly. And this outburst has nothing to do with you. It's her feeling like a shitty mother. It's easier to lash out at you and try to control your relationship with BFD than be a mom herself. I'm so sorry. What you did was really sweet. Don't let this stop you from having a relationship with that little girl who loves you. Honestly, Op, you're a blessing to these kids' lives. Very caring. Our first pedicure's a thing. Pretty sure not the a-hole. NTA. She's just looking for a fight. Am I the antagonist for refusing to give my husband my new Wi-Fi password? My husband, M30, and I, F32, are going through some financial struggles right now. The reason for that is because my husband lost his job. He didn't earn much anyway working retail, being overworked and underpaid. He said the reason he lost his job was because of his narcissist boss. Money is tight and the load fell on me completely to provide for us and pay for everything including Wi-Fi. He promised to look for a job though. My husband started spending most of his time on his phone. I keep asking if he is looking for a job and he'd say yes, but it's been 3 months now, and I grew suspicious because retail jobs aren't easy to find. On the other hand, I found myself paying so much towards Wi-Fi service because of his endless activities on the internet. I didn't say anything till I ran into his former boss at the supermarket. We talked about my husband, and I brought up how he fired him, but he looked at me confused and told me he didn't fire him. My husband quit with his own will after giving him long rant about how he was sick and tired of working retail and that he will never work in this field again. I was shocked and also fuming. I went home and confronted him. He admitted that it was true and asked me to understand because he was fed up with having to work as a server for rude, obnoxious people who don't respect him the way they should. I asked what he was going to do then, and he said he has been thinking of going back to school to earn a respectable degree and work a decent job. I asked where he would get the money to go back to school, and he shrugged and said I could start a fund for him with my salary because like he said he will no longer work retail. I lost it at him and told him I won't save money for anything when I can barely manage. Oh, and BTW, I told him I was losing so much money on Wi-Fi service, and so I changed the password prohibiting him from using the internet again till he start helping pay for it. He got mad and shouted about how I was robbing him of his rights to use the internet. But I stated that the internet is a privilege, not a right, but he called me selfish and unsupportive. I left for work later and he kept calling me telling me to give up the password, but I kept refusing. Now for the top comments. NTA, but you have bigger problems than a password. Find a good family law attorney and I pray you don't have kids. NTA. Whatever he's been doing for the last 3 months isn't job searching, unless he's looking at jobs he's underqualified for, given he's disdainful of retail, especially if it's using enough internet to become a financial drain. He's lied about his last job with his boss and how he parted from it, and only admitted to lying when you confronted him with the truth. This is a time to reevaluate the relationship, knowing what you do now, and whether you think it's worth taking a chance on your husband or not. There are entry-level jobs that aren't retail. Data entry, dishwashing, cleaning, changing tires, etc. Those are boring and sometimes hard jobs, but they help pay the bills and aren't retail. He's just not willing to pull his weight. He's only dreaming of having something better without being ready to do what it takes to get there. He shrugged and said I could start a fund for him with my salary. The trust fund husband, not the a-hole. Opus. Am I the antagonist for defending my daughter wanting to play with boys' toys? I, 35F, am married to my amazing husband, 36 male, and we share 8-year-old twin daughters together. The daughter in question here has always been more of a tomboy growing up, unlike her twin sister, who has always been more of a girly girl and into more traditionally feminine things. She has never liked doing things like wearing dresses or playing with Barbies. Most of her friends at school are boys, and she has always more into traditionally masculine things. Their 98th birthday is coming up on June 1st, and my husband's mother, aka their grandmother and my mother-in-law, visited us yesterday and asked the girls what they wanted for their birthday. My daughter said she wanted 2 things, a Squishmallow and a Nintendo Switch. My mother-in-law asked her what she just heard, and my daughter repeated what she said. She said that she would not be getting her a Nintendo Switch because that was a boy's toy and that girls shouldn't play with boys' toys. They should only play with girls' toys. I jumped in and told her that my daughter can play with whatever the fuck she wants to play with and that she doesn't decide what things my daughter plays with. She told me that she was raised only being allowed to play with girls' toys and that she wants her grandchildren to be raised how she was raised. I'm not one to start arguments, so I didn't say anything else about the topic. And we all ate dinner and talked about whatever garbage we were watching on TV. After she left, my husband came and told me that he agreed with me and our daughter should be allowed to be herself, but I should cut my mother-in-law some slack because that's how she was raised. So that's what she thinks is appropriate. Reddit. Am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. WTF. Leaving out the gender stereotypes. I want to know how a Switch is a "boy's toy." It's a freaking video game system. How can that be gendered? NTA. She thinks that video games are for boys. I truly do not understand that, as I absolutely loved video games growing up. NTA. Who cares how mother-in-law was raised? It's 2 generations later and this is about your kids. Your husband needs to handle this. She shouldn't say sexist things in front of your children, and if she persists, I'd limit contact. If she buys your daughter toys she clearly doesn't like, Sell them on a resale site and buy your daughter what she actually wants. Why stuck out to me most was mother-in-law wanting them raised the way she was raised. Like, who gives a f about how you were raised? You aren't raising these children. So you don't get to demand or whine about how they are raised. They aren't mother-in-law's kids. Plain and simple. Am I the antagonist for only feeding one child frozen food? My son is Indian, and his friend, who is white, are both 9. My son brought his friend over after school on the bus. I messaged his mom and asked if this was okay and how late he was staying. She asked if he could stay until 10. I served dinner around 8, so he would be eating with us. I cook a lot of Indian cuisine in my house because that's what I grew up making. My son told me his friend was picky and asked if I could make him something else. I keep fries and chicken nuggets for when my son has picky friends over. So we all sit to eat, and my son's friend seems happy with the nuggets, and they go to play after dinner. The boy's mom picks him up a little after 9. I get a text later asking why I fed her son frozen food when I cooked a fresh dinner for everyone else. I told her my son said the boy won't eat what I was making. She said I should have made him something also instead of just getting freezer food. I told her I provided free childcare without notice, and her kid chose not to eat what everyone else ate. I continued that, when I was a child, my mom didn't offer anyone alternatives to what was made. So has lucky I accommodated him. She told me she won't let her son stay with a child abuser anymore. Now for the top comments. NTA, that is pretty entitled behavior on his mom's part. Not only did she not clear it with you first before basically forcing you to watch her kid for the night, but then she had the nerve to question how you feed this child that you didn't know was coming. A lot of the moms of my boys' friends assume because I'm a stay-at-home mom I can just have them whenever. NTA and ha child abuser? Incredible. Glad this woman showed you who she is, so you can 100% avoid her forever. I feel bad for the kid, however. His mom is a nut job. Seriously, I'm glad Op found out she was nuts over chicken nuggets and not tripping in the yard. Good riddance.